Hello, everybody. Can you tell me? I asked about the audio, but can you tell me that if the mic is working fine? Okay, thank you. This is my first time using using StreamYard, so I need to check everything. But thank you, everybody, for coming. I hope more people are coming soon because there were like more than 100 registrations for this class, but I don't know how many will be here. I will ask you. Uh, we are doing this like a live class, right? So I will share my screen with the Photoshop and Spine and After Effects. Probably, I will not be looking for the chat all the moment because the chat is on a different monitor. I am drawing and working right here, down here, and the chat is up here. So, but feel free to ask questions anytime you want. You can have comments as a regular chat, but let's agree when you have a question that you tag the question like with a hashtag like this. All right. All the things that we are doing on Spinemation, you have access. When we have the courses online and working, you have access to everything, the recordings, the files, everything. So don't worry about that. I don't like to keep stuff for myself. I like to give stuff so people can practice. It doesn't make sense for me, like holding stuff so you can't learn this. It's my secret. That's not me. So I was talking to an animator this week, and he asked me about that. So you are doing a course and you're showing people stuff, so they know your secrets. So how do you feel about it? You say, I don't have secrets, man, because I don't believe this. I believe knowledge is to be shared. So I learned from a lot of people along my career because when I started 20 years ago in animation, we didn't have YouTube. I told this already many times. We didn't have YouTube. We had like forums, and we have like ICQ, MSN, very old stuff. And we exchanged information. So most of the community in Brazil, because I'm from Brazil, they used to share stuff. So that's how we grow. We have like amazing artists today that started back in 2000 and before that a little bit. And everybody was forged like that, like a community, like really sharing information. And then started the website started like CG Talk, 3D Total, and the communities, the forums expanded like CG Channel, a lot of forums. And then CGI take over. And it's nice. So I was raised with this mentality of sharing and teaching each other. So I try to do that, of course. Okay, we are 20 something. I will start so everybody can, because it will take some time. I hope you have time today, like 2 hours or something like that, or I don't know. We can keep going, but I don't want to go like too much. But we have a lot of things to do because I will show things in Photoshop, then I will show you in After Effects, then back to Spine. I try to make it more simple as I could, but still, it is a lot of stuff. I come from Maya. Yeah, nice. Let me put your comment here because it's nice. I come from Maya and 3D animation and start Spine, and it can be confusing. Thank you. This is very interesting because I come from 3D as well. I'm using, I did 2D before, but I started using heavily Spine like 6 years ago. And actually it looks confusing, but what helped me with Spine, it was a lot of 3D concepts that I learned in 3D, like the mesh, like the bone to build the rigs. So they are very similar in many ways. So actually, it helped me a lot understanding how things work inside Spine. So this kind of knowledge I am putting on the courses. Like meshes are not just containers with dots around it. It has a construction logic, and it's the same as the logic from 3D, that is polygons and triangles and quads and flow, and it's kind of the same. And bones as well. So of course there are some limitations, the 2D, 2 dimensions only, and limitations on the constraints, like Maya has set driven keys that would be a dream in Spine, but it's a slow process for them. Let me show you something. Hi, Paris. Thank you for coming. Let me put your comment here. I am to the artist without an experience with animation. No problem. Is this course class for me, or should I start with something more basic? I think it is, because Spine animation, I am using Spine. Some people ask me about that as well. I am using Spine because this is my tool of work, and it has some really nice features. It has a lot of limitations if you compare with other animation softwares like Toon Boom, like Moho, like many others. But Spine is extremely focused on game development. So it is like the middle of the way of a very good animation software and a very good game dev software. It works very well for gaming. But if you don't have experience with animation, Spine, the advantage that I see in Spine is because it's very simple. So you don't need to learn a lot of technical stuff to start animating. You can jump into animation very fast. But one of the things that I observe around the community is that Spine animators, maybe it's because it's on the game dev environment, because game dev environment, it requires a lot of technical knowledge, because you have to implement your animations inside the engine, and you have to fix stuff, and you have to build stuff the way it works in engine. And I do that as well, but I do the other part, that is creating animations like for videos, for cinematics, and for this kind of stuff. So I use Spine both ways. But it doesn't matter, because what I am trying to tell you is that the Spine Animation project is focused on animation first. I need to show you some technical stuff, like how to build a rig, how to use constraints, how to use the features in Spine. But I am not focused on that. I am focused on animation. So this, like for artists like you are, to the artists, this is very interesting, because you can take your illustrations and give life to them. That's how I learned Spine, actually. I was working on a game environment, but I need to learn fast Spine. And I realized that similarities with 3D, it's one of the things that helped me. But since I learned animation, like animation fundamentals and animation concepts, once you learn that, I know I say this to a lot of animators and like starting animator, or someone that wants to become an animator, they understand 100% of that. But once you learn animation concepts, you can animate in most of the tools, because the concepts are the same. Like digital tools, they work like very similar. They have a timeline. You set keyframes, then you have the curves. The magic is on the curves. It's hard, but it's where you polish your animation. So I am focused. All the learning tracks from Spine, they are focused first on animation, because I am an animator. I don't like to spend time like 2 days building a rig that I will use to animate 30 seconds. You know what I mean? I know the rig is important, but I know there are people that are much better than me and rigging in rigging and technical stuff and implementing on the engine. So I try to take advantage of what I know, that is animation. And this kind of experience, 20 years of animation in many formats, After Effects, 3D, traditional animation, drawing. Uh, I want to put this amount of experience inside Spinimation because, as I told you before, there are a lot of Spine users, people that learn Spine, because Spine is not difficult. But there are few good, very good animators that understand animation and put that in practice inside Spine. So if you are coming from 3D and you want to learn animation, this is the way for you. The good thing is that you are learning a new tool like Spine. I don't know where do you work right now, if you are working with games or not. But if you are working in games, Spine will be very useful. But independent of you learning Spine, you can use the knowledge that I will teach you, the animation knowledge. You can take this, even you learn it on Spine, you can transfer this to another tool, even 3D, because animation concepts are software independent, so they work anywhere. You just need to understand how they work, how the physics work, how real world works, and you can apply that. Sorry, because I am talking about this for a long time, because I love to talk about this, because for me this is the magic, the animation is the magic. People think that if you learn Maya, if you learn 3D, if you learn Blender, if you learn Spine or Toon Boom or whatever, you will be like a very good animator. You will not. You're just learning a tool. If you want to be like a very good animator, you need to learn animation. So I know not everybody understands this difference, but that's why I'm here. I love to teach. I do that. I mentor young artists like behind the curtains. I'm just taking this that I do, like not in a formal way and with people that message me. So I realize there is a demand for that. So I like to teach. I like to mentor. So this is why I decided to create the Spinimation. So sorry for talking too much. Finally, finally for what's important. Okay, this is the screen. Let me open Photoshop. So we are animating this. I took some steps already because I was thinking that the time would be short, but I will explain to you everything that I did here. Well, you know this poster, of course. If you like animation, you know this. Let me go back to the chat. And again, you can send me questions and comments anytime here, all right? If I take a while to reply, it's because I am not paying attention there, but paying attention here on my monitor, all right? So this is a poster. The first thing that I need to do in any Spine project is the Photoshop part. I need to organize my file. So for this one, it's a flat image, but I need to separate the layers, right? The good thing is that Photoshop, the new version of Photoshop, it has like the AI tools. That is like very, very nice because it's the generative fill. You can like select an area on the image and Photoshop can create something for you over there. But if you don't suggest any prompt, it will like clean the image for you. So what I did here, first, I had these characters that I want to separate all of them. So the first thing that I do is to separate the elements that I want, like this. Everybody's seeing the screen, right? Say yes if yes. While I take some medicine. Yes, thank you, Marcelo. All right, so I separate the elements, like just selecting them, like with the lasso tool, selecting them roughly. Don't worry about refining precisely, and like separating in layers. actually. So I separated the logo, I separated the characters that I want to use, like each one of them, roughly, you see? If I have the zoom, you can see I didn't like cut precisely now because it's not necessary. It's faster if you do like that for now. Oops. Like this. Perfect, right? I copied this to another file with all of them separated. I will show you right now, but I want to show you here how you can clean up the images. I don't know if everybody knows that, but you can like select an area that you want to clean. Like let's clean up this robot, the anime version of Spider-Verse, and you can just select it. If you select, you can select even more than one here. Like select this and select this, and yeah, that's it. And then you can create like generative fill. You can put a prompt if you want, like create something to replace this here. It's nice if you want to play it, but it's not the objective here. Just press generate, and it will think for a while. Depends on your computer. My computer is not new, so it's like middle term. And after, it will give you like 3 options. At first it looks nice, but you can navigate through the options here, so you can see like the difference between the details that it creates to replace it. Let's say I like this one. All right, so it creates here, you can see there is already some here, but it creates like a mask for you. So if you disable the layer, they are still there, you know. So I did this previously with everybody. So I remove all the characters already using exactly the same process. So they are all here, all right? So what I do before that, I flat this part of the image, and then I keep going with that. I don't want to keep, you can keep this, of course, as a backup. Maybe you can put on a folder, but let's call this backup. But what I like to do is like to duplicate and flat. So now I have another flat image. Because the AI, it takes in consideration all the rest of the image that you didn't select to clean up that space. So I like to do that in parts. So that's why I do like character per character. And when I have too much noise, like I have like 5 characters here, then I do like a group, and then I clean the group at once. But I know this will be like the hero asset, the Miles Morales, the Spider-Man is the most important part. And the logo, maybe. We will not take much care of the logo this time. We'll take care of the Miles Morales. So I flat the image. So now I work on the Miles Morales. So I selected roughly as well. Before I clean it, I press Ctrl J. I just put it on a layer, separated layers, because I need to use this layer to separate the parts later, like the leg and the clothes and everything that I want to animate. So I separate it first, then I go back here, go back to the layer, right? Turn it off. I can select it again, or I can press Ctrl and press the layer, and selection is back. And then I press generative fill, generate again, because my goal here is first separate the characters, and second clean up the background, because I need the background to be the background of my animation, right? So again, it gives me more options. I still have to clean up. Maybe this one is the better one. So to clean up this, you have 2 options. You can go inside the mask and edit to go inside the mask or inside the image, you just click the right place here. If you click inside the mask, whatever you draw on the mask. So, nope. Let me see what the mask is first, because I don't know. Oh, okay. So I need to, actually, if I delete this, I am showing Miles behind it, right? So I need to edit the image itself. So in this case, I have to paint over it. But I will not do that here because I separated already. But be aware that you have to do that. If you don't have the skill to paint, what you can do is like to flat it again. Then you can select just the area that you want to remove, like this. And then you can run again, generative fill and generate. And probably it will clean up for me. It's better. I have this. If I don't like this and I press generate again, it will give me 3 more options. All right, so now you can see here, I had before 3, now I have 6. So I go on the first 3, then I go to the next ones. So you can pick whatever you want, and you can refine the way you want to refine. And if by any chance you click outside of it and you want to go back to it again, you can click on the little stars here, and then this opens again, this little window here with all the options. All right, but I did this already, as I told you. It's here, and I did something extra here. I have the characters separated, like Miles. Already clean up the borders. But what I did different here, besides separating the characters, it was the expansion. So the poster was like that, right? So you can do something very nice in Photoshop. That is the expanded generative fill. Like, let's take this one. And usually use this crop tool to crop your image, right? Like if I press enter here, it will crop my image and crop all the layers that is inside this area. So let me do it again. I can do the opposite. I can expand my image. Yeah, like that. And the regular tool, if I press enter, there is nothing there, just a background, and it will be like empty like that. But on this version of Photoshop, you can change the fill to generative expand. So now when I expand, generate, and then it will do the same that it did with the other part, but the opposite. He will create the external part for me. And then you can pick whatever is nicer for you. This is what I did, exactly what I did. You don't need to worry about too much detail because on After Effects, I will show you in a moment, it will be moving. So maybe we can do like a motion blur or something like that. So we will not need detail at this part. This is the important part of Photoshop. Here you can decide what's important or not. So what's important, you can dedicate more time and put more detail over there. But what's not important, you can make it like the necessary, you know? So you don't spend much time or much energy on what's not necessary. So here I know the hero asset for me is Miles Morales. So that's why I came here and I clean up so precisely. Then after generate this, you can, of course, they are separated. If I take to the After Effects like that, it will create me like 2 layers and maybe an extra composition. So you can, after you are happy, you can like merge together. What I want to show you here is the cleanup. The lettering we will not take care now. The logo, I did a very rough approximation. I will not take good care of the logo now because I am focused on Miles. Then we have the other characters. This one is special because he is like because of the format of the poster vertical, it cuts the cape of this character. So this is the kind of situations that you have with Spine if you are animating illustrations. You need to paint a little bit. Yesterday, someone asked me about if you need to know illustration to be a good Spine animator, and I think you don't. But if you have the idea of how it's done, it helps a lot because I think it was Marcelo actually that asked me if you need to illustrate to join a studio. Actually, you don't, because inside the studio you have the whole pipeline. You have the artists, you have the animators, they are all separated. But you have to consider if it's worth time-wise to send back an art to the art director or the illustrator, wait for the time until he has time to fix whatever you want to fix, and bring it back to you, send it back to you. So if you know a little bit how to illustrate or how to fix the tails, you can do something like that I did. Like I complete the cape, I create more details here. Oops. And then you can move forward with your work, whatever you need to do, just adding a little bit of detail. And you can use tricks as well, like this one I painted myself, trying to follow the colors and the shading here. But like for the hope, the web here, for example, you have tools on Photoshop that helps you. Like if you select and press Alt and drag, you have a copy of that part of the image. Then you can just extend the web, it helps a lot. So you can learn a little bit of illustration. You can learn a little bit more about Photoshop, what it can do, like with the AI tools now, with this kind of tricks like selecting, press out, and duplicating. It helps you, to save time for yourself, and save time for your team as well. You don't need to stop. Maybe the art director or the illustrator, he is on another task already for the game pipeline, and he needs to stop that, go back, fix for you, and send back to you. It takes time, so it helps. This is the part of it's not exactly a soft skill, but the mindset behind it's a soft skill. You can think about how the team is flowing, how the project's flowing, and how you can help. So if you can do that, you will be very, very helpful for your colleague, actually, and it will speed up the task for you. So I did that, separate everybody, and I created another one that I will send to After Effects. On this one, I have the background here flattened already. Then I have the same. I have the lettering, I have the logo. I separated the web from Miles, but honestly, this is not the best solution for the web. Maybe I can, if we have time available, I can create a solution for this web. In my opinion, the best way to solve this is to create like a straight line on Photoshop. Maybe I can use even the maybe it's too thin, the web from the noir character. But I would create another web, like a straight one, and then I would deform it inside spine with the bones. So because this I have to explain to every artist that I work with, because they paint like a horse, and the tail of the horse is full of waves and nice shapes, very beautiful stuff. But for the animation, we need to do that curves and shapes and nice things. We need to do that on the animation, because the illustrator paints what's best for the pose of the character, what he thinks is a very nice pose, but it's not production ready, actually. So for us on spine side, it's much harder, and the quality, it compromises the quality. If I have a curved shape like a tail, and I have to unbend it to make it straight, to rig it to make it curved again, it breaks the asset. The image doesn't work properly. So this kind of things, this is also a soft skill, very important one. How you can like educate your colleagues. Like probably your colleague that is animator knows about that, but not everybody on the 2D art knows about that. So that this kind of communication needs to happen, and needs to happen very carefully, very clearly. So this is the soft skill part. And again, if you can make it straight by yourself, do it, so you don't bother the artist, and you not like drag your time too much. But think about it. You need to be ready to teach people things that is very obvious to you. You need to teach people how to do it the way it works for you, for the animation. So the web, it's there on the After Effects, but honestly, I don't think it's the best solution. And depend on the time that we take to animate it, I can fix it. But I will focus today on Miles, because I can't do like all the characters in few minutes, But the important one, the hero asset, is Miles. So let's take care of it. So from here, with these assets that I have, instead of going first to spine, or instead of separating everything that I need on Miles first, I will jump into After Effects, because I have all the important layers that I need to create the camera, to create the depth, to animate the camera and check the timing that I need. And then when I set this time, I go back to Miles, separate it, and then I animate it according to the time that I have in After Effects. So it's not linear, like Photoshop, Spine, After Effects. It's like Photoshop, After Effects, Spine, After Effects again. And if you need some fix, you can go back to Photoshop. And what's nice about After Effects and Photoshop is if you update an asset, it updates along the pipeline. So it will be updated on After Effects and the Spine as well. So let's jump to After Effects. I will try to do on the latest version of After Effects, but sometimes it's give me some headaches, like all new Adobe products, kind of boogie. But let's see. Let's hope for the best. If not, I can jump back a few versions, and I know they are more stable. The bigger problem is the playback, actually. Alexander asked another question here. How much time? No, not this one. Oh, sorry, Alexander. Are there different memberships for beginner, animator, and intermediate? No. I can't separate by that, because to do that, I need to. I understand your question. You can consider yourself an intermediate or a beginner or whatever, but everything that I am offering with all the learning tracks, it covers already for beginners and for intermediate and for advanced. So you are getting the full package. So if you are a beginner, you can start by the start, and you can do all the tracks and improve yourself to reach intermediate, or even to go more advanced. It's up to you how much you want to invest on that, how much you want to extract from that, But right now I can't do that. Like for beginning, do that. If I was selling like separated courses, like separated packs, it's easier to do that, to separate the introduction to spine, and that's it. It goes until here. But I think it's nice if I can offer you the whole way, because it's up to you the time that will take for you to go from beginner to intermediate. It depends on how much you practice. So I think it's I can't preview this time. It's different for each person. So I think it makes more sense if you have access to the whole path, and then you go by your pace. Thank you for asking, for participating. Okay. I created already a composition earlier to try the assets, but I will do another from scratch. So to import Photoshop in After Effects, you just import the PSD. It will ask you how you want to import it, or flatted, or as a composition. If you import it as a composition, let me fix something. If you import it as a composition, it will import with all the layers. This. I am so picky about naming, and I forgot this earlier. Background, highlight things, name it correctly. Okay, so select the PSD, and you select, you can, here actually it doesn't matter. If you go composition retain side, it will ask you again. So they never changed that. I don't know why. It asks again, 10 layer size. That's it. And I created here the composition. All the layers are here, including logo and lettering. And what we will do here, and usually is what I do on my projects, it's create like a camera and work with 3D layers. But before that, I am kind of an organization fanatic. So that's why I like names properly. I will delete the web because I will not work with the web now. It's too much trouble. But what I like to do first set the time. I put like 10 seconds. I think it's enough. We will check. If it's not, we can make it larger or shorter. Not a problem. But I will separate like the other characters. Noir. I'll give them a different color. And I'll take the logo and the lettering. I will also give a different color. Let's say pink. Why not? And the background can stay like that. No problem. And Miles, let's put a good red color. And next, I need to turn all of them into 3D layers. You can do that by selecting this icon, or you can go here, select the layers, and 3D layer. Because cameras work with 3D layers, and what we are trying to do is create parallax effect, that difference of depth from layer to layer. It's kind of the same effect that we do in spine when they say like fake 3D or 2.5D. It's creating like this fake sensation of depth. So it's kind of the same here. So I turn all of them in 3D layers, then I create a camera. If you know more about cameras, you can use the presets here for the size of the lenses or sensors. Let's go with a 35 millimeters. And then it's working already, is in 3D. You can change here the views, let's say 2 views, and it will show like a view of the camera and a view like left or top or perspective. You can set it here, like custom view is like a perspective. You can see that there are no depth now if I move the camera. But before I start moving stuff, I like to create a null object. A null object is just it's like a slot in Spine. You can attach things to it, but it doesn't have render. It doesn't have an image. It holds stuff, you know. I use this as a controller for the camera, because the camera, if I need to control the camera, I need to control like the position of the camera and the position for the target of the camera. It gives me 2 points to, and when I create the interpolations, everything can be very messy. So what I do, I take a null object. I can rename it like camera null, and I link the camera. If you go to this little spiral here and drag it to the camera null. Now when I move the null, I move the whole camera together, all the parts of the camera. So it makes easy to animate and to control the camera. I can still move the camera. I don't need to be attached on the null, but I prefer to move I can lock it so I can't animate it by accident. So the null moves the whole camera together. So I think it makes more sense for me. So now I can start moving stuff. First is the background. I will turn off the logo with the lettering now because you're not animated. I push the background way far because it is way far. I can work on the scale just to make it fill the screen, but I can adjust the scale later when I have the final movement for the camera. Another important thing to do is to set the final size of the composition. As you see, the PSD is almost 5,000 pixels. And what I want is like full HD composition. So I change here. Of course, it's everything out of frame, but we will fix that now with the correct position according to the camera. So far deep, I have the background. Then a little less deep, I have the character. I can select all of them and put them like midway. If you have problems like that, you can rotate the camera to see everything in frame, or you can change the view here, like to the left. So by changing to the left, I know this is the background. Here, I know the background is here. Then I have at this depth, I have everybody else here. Then I have not logo and lettering. Then I have Miles here. At the middle of the composition, I can put it back a little bit as well. And maybe take the characters a little more behind. Okay. I just want to create the feeling of that. So let's bring back the background a little bit, the scale. So now I can start moving the camera. If I move now, let's bring this closer. I can move it by here, or I can move it by here as well. If I press P, I have access to the position data. So this is X, Y, and Z. So if I move Z, I'm going towards and forward, towards and backwards, the camera. If I move Y, I'm doing that. And if I'm moving Z, X, I'm doing that, like spine, X and Y and spine. So I can like put this on a way that's better for me, more up or more down, just the way I want to frame it. Maybe I can bring the noir a little bit back. When you are working on this kind of setup with 3D, it's important that you, when you are moving stuff, instead of just clicking and moving, it's nice if you move by the axis, like going over the axis and moving it. So you are 100% sure that it's not going on a different direction that you want it to go. So just bring this a little bit up, because we will animate the camera, so things will be all over the place. I just need now a good reference of position so I know how to guide my camera. Let's say I want Miles here, something like that. But the important part is the camera animation now. We can do like go into frame 0. Let's set a keyframe here. On the new, of course, not on the camera, because I am animating the new, and the new is carrying the camera. So let's bring it back a little bit. Actually, bring it forward. The movement that I want here is the camera is on the city, then it pulls back a little bit. Miles coming into the frame, and then he goes down, and the camera or goes up or goes down. So we can create like a floating camera effect, like if the cameraman is jumping together with Miles. So let's start by placing the camera after Miles in front of it. Actually, the camera is way behind. Don't worry about that, because Miles will be in movement. What I want here is to have the city. So maybe bring the city a little bit back, so I can have more of the city on frame. The final scale we will adjust later. Maybe start with it taking more of the lowest part of the city. Then the camera goes back, showing everybody. Very fast. And then I wanted to keep it moving very slowly so we can show Miles and details. Very slowly, maybe 5 seconds, it's enough. And then you will notice there will be some weird stuff happening, like this up and down on the camera here, up and down. It's because of the Beziers of the trajectory, like this weird curves. But let's finish the main movement first, then we can go back here and adjust it accordingly. So first I want the camera pull back, show everybody, and then it goes, Miles goes down, and the camera maybe can go up. Keeps going back as well. And then at the end, when we have this done, we can create like a transition and create a loop animation. So the camera is always moving back and forth, and Miles is coming in and going down all the time. But let's try to find a good timing first. This is the movement that I don't want to happen, like the up and down. I want it to go like this and keep going like this. And this is the part that I miss in Spine, to see the trajectory, you know? This is really something that helps. All the other animation softwares has something like that. You have the ghost tools in Spine, but it's not the same. If you could trace the trajectory, it would be perfect. Now it's very slow, so maybe we can speed it up a little bit. It starts fast, starts very fast. Maybe it can go out very fast as well. All right, you see the movement is not perfect because we have like a bump here. And I need to fix that. To fix that, thankfully, After Effects, you can manipulate the keyframes right on the viewport. You just have to take care of the handles here. Kind of that. It's constant. And now I add the easy, like easy in and easy out. When the camera is off, I don't need the starts on easy, but I need to stop on easy. So you go here, easy in, and then when it goes out, easy out. Okay, I have around 6 seconds, so let's adjust again the duration. So when we play back, we can have a better vision of the whole thing, knowing that it's only 6 seconds. We will refine that later. Right now, I'm just concerned about having the correct, a very beautiful camera movement. So let's make it a little bit lower. Maybe here, when I have the camera far, I can now adjust the final scale of the background. Let's see if it works. Okay. And there are some things that we can do here to improve. Maybe we can add rotation. When I add rotation, I do that in different ways. You can add to the same node that we have here. Orientation. Let's not create keyframes now. So we can have, I want to rotate on the X axis, no, the Y axis. So this one. But here, since I have a very long camera, maybe this is not the best option. It works. You can see it is rotating. I put here on the custom view. No, not this. This need to be the camera. This one, custom view. All right. If I rotate this here, you can see it is rotating. But it is a very long camera, so one of the things that I used to do is to create another separate node for the rotation, and then I attach this node to the node above it. Let's change the color, green maybe. Let's change the name, rotation node. So let's see if it works, because right now this was rotating, but it's in movement as well. So if I rotate this now, I have to turn it 3D, of course. It's rotating like in place, you know. So maybe it will work better, but we need to see in motion. I don't want a hard rotation. I want a very subtle rotation. So something very subtle. So maybe I can end in 5, and I can start in minus 5. That is like the whole spin is 360, so 355 is -5. So then I can go all the way here. Let's see how it behaves. Oh, this is what happening earlier. The preview stops. Let me save this. Spider-Verse. By the way, I will send you these files tomorrow, all right? I will do the Brazilian session as well. And I will save you the spine files, the After Effects files. Don't worry about that. All right, I think it's nice. It adds a little bit of depth, you can see by here. And when we add the movement on the characters, I think it will shine. So let's push it to the end here and to the beginning, to the start here. We need to do like a small adjustment here because it's going out of the frame, and another one here. So let's go back to the scale on the background. Make sure you are working with enough resolution on your images. As you saw it, this image is almost 5,000 pixels. So you have room enough to not lose resolution. Since the background is not animated, I can position it just for the sake of it. All right, I think it's nice. Since I want to create the effect of floating movement, I can add an extra layer of rotation here, but this time on the background. And this time in another different axis, the z-axis that is pointing to the camera. So let's say -5 as well, something like that. So it is in constant rotation. And we will add another layer of position as well. So we have the position that is the trajectory of the camera, but we have a second position animated that is like the camera floating, actually. I like to separate the transform. Even in spine, I used to separate the transforms, like rotation and position. Scale, not so much, but it adds a lot, you know? And you can have like control over different kind of movement. So it's very useful. Try to think your animation in terms of layers of transforms. Nice. Maybe I can go with the camera even more lower, but I will not now. We need to jump into spine. So I will not polish this like too much. Let's just bring to the limit of the image here. All right. And then before we go to Miles and the other characters, let's just refine this by adding some easy on the graph. Position. Okay. I can click here and separate the dimensions so I can have control of them like separated. But I think what I did here will give me trouble. I can just change the type of graphic. This is the value graph that you can control like the curves. But if I separate the dimensions now, it will change the interpolation on all the points. I should have done this before. But right now, what I want to do is just to increase the amount of ease in and ease in out. So I can do that by using another different kind of graph, that is the speed graph. So by going on the keyframe here and dragging this here, I still have the same ease, but it's now more strong. Ease makes all the difference. I used to fight a lot with animators about easy. I shouldn't, but because it's very obvious why you need easy. And without easy, your animations need like a robot. So now I remove the ease here, but I will go back because when I change the graph, when I separate the dimensions, the easy goes away. So let's put it again, the easy out here because it's going out. And I'll do the same. Just increase the amount. That means that it's going like slow and fast, you know? This is the easy out. So if the curve is like that, it's going more linear. If the curve is like that, it's going accelerating and speed it up. This is the easy. Slow in, slow out. So now it has a good deceleration, and here it has a slow acceleration. And it's nice. Now let's take care of Miles Morales. This. So I wanted to get in frame around here, but I want you to come from the bottom and stay in frame a little bit, and then it goes down. Sorry. So I will mark this position at this time around 1 second. That's where I want him to come to the screen at this position. And before that, let's put the final position here as well. I want it around here, but I want it to go a little bit deeper because it's not just up and down movement. It's going from the camera back to the background, you know, something like that. Yes, there will be. Like on the monthly content that I will give, like the spine jams that happens every month. Most of them will go with together, spine and After Effects. But on the learning tracks, on the courses, the splash course especially is doing exactly something like that. It's taking a little illustration and animating it on After Effects and spine. But on the course, I will cover more than I am doing here. It's more in deep storytelling, and I will cover the VFX part. That is particles and using video to create smoke, to create using the other plugins that comes with After Effects to create another kind of different effects like smoke, mist, magic, particles, this kind of stuff. So now I have Miles on screen doing whatever I want him to do. Let's keep this view because we will need it, especially the left view. Oh no, again. So camera, this one, left. All right. Where is Miles? Here. So now I have Miles here on the screen by the time that I want, and I want him now to go off the screen here, but going forward and down. Let's make it come more forward, more down. Something like that. Don't worry, because I know it's coming from the center of the screen, and it should come from the right of the screen. I will fix that. But first, let's fix this angle. Then we will fix the other, the left side. Then we can fix the front side, because it won't be like a matter of timing. It will be a matter of trajectory. So from here, I want it to go, keep going forward and go down again, like this. And this kind of curve is nice because it's natural. For everything that you throw up in real life, you see that is this parabol. I don't know the name. Parabol. I don't remember the pronunciation, but the parabol. I think it's parabol. The curve, you know. All right. É parábola. Em português, é parábola. So here you can see there is a glitch happening. This is because Miles went down here, but right in front of the camera. But we can fix that. So now that I have the parabola on the left side, the way I want it to be, I can fix it on the front side. Front side. And it's nice if I keep this here, because this is the camera view, so I can make adjustments on both sides. But this is like the orthogonal perspective, so it's like flat on the camera. So I know it needs to be like a parabol here as well on the front side, because it's not like straight. So I can take this keyframe and create the parabol here. Yeah. The camera view is this. Yeah, maybe the timing is not nice. It needs to fall faster. And of course, there is no easy. So let's put an easy out and an easy in. The timing here also is not good. So let's speed it up a little bit. So it's going up and down, and should go down. It can go like more together with the camera, maybe. Arc. Yeah, that's true. Arc is a good word. Less complicated. So I think it's nice. It's like a slow motion shot, so I think it's nice. Let's do the same thing. Let's increase the easy here. Let's see how it plays. Yeah, and the easy in. Maybe we can increase a little bit here. All right. You can notice here, because I move Miles forward, it's going behind when. We can fix that easily by checking the position on the left side, not you. You are the camera. You. Left side. Here. So let's select Gwen. You can see here, Miles is going from the front and going through her. So we need her to be even further. Okay, so We have room because the background is right here, so it's no problem. We can even make them in different, like the robot, a little more behind. We can put it on the left so we have more things on the composition. The noir, we can put it here. And the spider pig, maybe more here, maybe more back. The noir can go a little bit forward. So we have different depths for everybody. Miles is still coming, still bleaching here. So we can actually cut the layer here, so we'll not have this problem. And we can do the same, not so polished. Like we don't need them to make them like go down, but we can make them, all of them, come into the shot as well. Especially Gwen, maybe, that is bigger. Maybe she can come from the left. I will not spend much time with them because the interesting here for us is Miles. But just to give us a little bit of more movement. Maybe it's too much. Maybe she can stay lower here. And we can make her comes from forward as well. Have parables for everybody. Move back a little bit. If we put the keyframe here, then we don't need to remove her. Yeah, but the timing, I'm not happy with the timing. But let's put the easy in. A little bit better. Yeah. Let's do the same with the robot. Let's mark the position. Let's move her out of the frame. And let's give her a little bit of depth. Actually, this keyframe can come from the right a little bit. This a little bit. Okay. And let's put an easing, and it should do the work. The other ones, they can come in like different, like later, like Noir. Noir can just be there. Just come from the side, and that's it. And Spider Pig is in a complicated position. Maybe he can be there from the start. And just move out of the frame. To do that, since he is holding on the web, the web is projecting outside of the frame. So what we can do for him is create another null. Let's take his position. If I copy the position for the layer and paste on another layer, it will be like the exactly depth. So we just need to put it out of the frame now. So let's take this around here. The projection goes around here, so something like that. And then I can link this to this, and it can be there from the start. We can just give it a little bit of rotation. In this case, Z rotation. So it's moving from top to bottom. Let's keyframe it. From here, we can go, it's going in front of Gwen. So we can move it backward. Let's just put the trajectory here for him. All right. Yeah, I think it works. It's behind Gwen. It's very close actually. And Gwen goes over it, I think. But it's out of the area of the layer, so that's fine, that's safe. Okay. So we have the composition kind of working. Let's change for one view here. Now let's animate Miles Morales. To increase that, we can do that later because we need to clean up all the layers, motion blur and everything else, of course. Last touch here, it will be the camera rotation, but on the axis of the, I don't know if it will work, but let's try. The Z-axis, like this. It doesn't make much difference. But you know, always helps. Yeah, I like it. Maybe too much here. To fix that is just to fix that is just the position. I have room here, I guess, to move just the background up so it will not interfere with my animation. Yeah, that's it. Okay, it's saved. Now let's jump back here. What I do now, sorry guys, is take Miles, Control C, Control N, Control V, and I will isolate Miles to take it to spine. Let me do just one small thing here. That is when I want to clean up Ben a little bit, but I will do it very fast. I'll show you how I'll do it on Photoshop because it's not complicated. It doesn't work on this case, not completely, but Photoshop has this remove background feature. If you have a different character, this is something annoying because sometimes it works, sometimes it's not. Like I tried with all the characters, it didn't work with any of them. It worked with the Noir, and it worked. That's it, and it worked partially with Gwen. I will show you. I don't know if the problem with the contrast from the background to the foreground, but you can see here. Let me create another layer here so you can see how it is. See, it doesn't work like 100%. I think it's because of the contrast from the character to the background, but I am not sure. But in this case, it doesn't take too long to complete this because I use the lasso tool. You can use of course, it depends on your your skill with this. But you can use lasso, but you can use a brush, like a hard brush if you want. Depends on your patience. Some people do even with the path tool, but for me it's very painful. I am very fast with the lasso tool, so that's why I use it. And usually when I have a character or something to cut, I used to do like a rough cut around it. Very rough, close to the border. Okay. And then, no, invert it. Because then it's easier for me later to go back and just refine the silhouette. If we had time, this would be the moment that I will also separate all the parts, the head, the arm, the fingers, the hand. But in this case, she is very far from the camera, so I don't think it's worth it. It will make such a difference. Of course, we don't have time to do all of them very detailed. So it's just for you to understand the process. When we do like a simple project, like I am planning to do like with a game character. So it's just one character, and then we can focus more on animation and animation for the game. So we can like cut all the parts very detailed. We will cut the parts from Mile as well. Miles. I keep saying Mile. Oh, I thought it was a finger, but it was the web. Okay. And you see, I am going like very close to the border, but sometimes I do like strange cuts. It's because of the angle of my hand on the screen. So when it's easy, I go like very far with this, all the way around. But sometimes the angle doesn't help. So I need to stop, change, and I delete, then I go to other parts. Then I go clockwise, anti-clockwise, and whatever, it depends. Sometimes I use this feature of Photoshop that rotates the canvas, and it helps with the angle as well. And shortcuts helps a lot. So despite of this new AI feature from Photoshop that is very new and is very powerful, I don't use much advanced features on Photoshop. I use like the basics. I can use like Photoshop CS2 or even earlier. And I will be using like the same tools, like lasso to like brush to eraser. Doesn't matter. If it gets me the results that I want, that's what's matter. And of course, if it doesn't like take too much time, that's the efficient part. But I use lasso, for example. But as you see, I am very fast with it. So like I have her already cut it, clean it, and that's it. So I will just save this file. So when I go back to After Effects, she will be okay. So let's go back to Miles. Here. Let me close this because we don't need it anymore. Are you guys tired? Bored? Are you still awake? I know we have some people that gave up. But let me show you now how I separate the parts, because I think this might be interesting for you. Again, I do like rough cuts. Yeah, Matt. I am excited too. So, Control J, create new layers with selection. This is very helpful. So, but I do like rough cuts, you know? The parts that are refined, it was refined before. So now I have this part that is rough, but you see, like the next part, the sneaker, I can do this as a single part. Control J. So it's like that. It's not precise. Then I go back and I do just like I did with Gwen. I go back and then I cut it as it should. And this part I need to create something more interesting for it. This part, I can see the body of Miles here, so I can make it together. Like here. Control J, and I can start naming it. Back leg. Then I can put everything in order later. Front leg. Body. And next, this hand is interesting if I separate it, just the hand, so I can like increase the perspective on it. Front hand. If you guys want to do a break, like to take a coffee or water, let me know so we can do like a 5 minutes break. All right. If it has a pull tool here on StreamYard, I would use it, but I don't think I have. Let me know if you want a 5 minutes break. I know we are here for more than 2 hours now, 2 hours and a half. But it's up to you. For me, it's not a problem. So the back arm, then I cut, but I need to imagine the area of the asset, the whole area of the asset, and later I can refine it. So Control J, back arm. This kind of perspective is very tricky. Like when you have a character pointing to the hand like that, to animate that is very tricky. Not in this case because I have the hand very big, but this section of the arm here, okay, here, from here to here is, if you trace the silhouette of this, it's a weird shape, you know? I don't know how it is, how it will behave here, because it's like a dark section, so it doesn't have much detail. But once in a while, I find characters, illustrators love to do like poses like this with swords or weapons or even with hands. It's beautiful, but come on, it's a nightmare to animate. Let's call it front art. And we are getting there. The jacket. The jacket is nice. It will give like a nice animation for the jacket. Maybe I can do the jacket. My English. I can do the jacket together with the hoodie. The top part of the jacket, actually. Yeah, maybe it works. Let's do like that. Let's call it jacket front. No, I am naming everything front first, so front jacket. And here I have this back part of the jacket that is important. So let me cut a bigger chunk, maybe bigger. And I can call it back jacket. And then I need to do like a back, let's call it back hoodie here as well. So I have some safety here on the head. Back hoodie. And finally, not finally, but the head. Head. And here the laces. Again, these laces are tricky because they are already curved and posed like this way. But if we had time and it was like a production, important production work project, I would draw this again or ask to the artist to draw it again like straight, and then I will do these curves with the rig and side spine. Much better, because if I you see, because this is what we have in spine. I have to unbend this or bend it with the bones in the opposite direction. It breaks the asset. Laces. So I turn off the main character just to check if there are any holes, because if it's something missing when I turn off the character, the base layer of the character, if there are any holes or something missing, it will show here. But looks like it's okay, so let's keep it like that, because in the process we can realize that we need another extra part, so I keep it here. Before I export to spine, then I can delete this layer. Or I can keep it to use as a reference on spine. So now I will start refining my parts very quickly, like here. This part will be under the shorts, so it doesn't need more detail. But here I used to turn off the alpha here, and I just pick the color closer to the border, and I like this brush because it's solid but it has transparency, and I just paint it like the same color or very close to it or a little bit darker, and that's it. This part is done. The front leg now. Oh, I forgot one part. You see, it's important to keep the original here. We have the back leg here, the shin and the shoe, but we need the thigh here. So maybe not completely, but let's play safe and let's do this part here. Front. We go back to this later. So let's refine this. Okay. Here. Okay. Maybe it's enough. Let's go to the body. The body, I need to guess. I have this part here that I need to guess how it is. So first, let me get a clear silhouette. And sometimes we can use like the same that we use to clean up the image to clean up these parts as well. So let's make a selection here. And let's give it a try. Why not? Let's block the transparency. I don't know if this makes a difference with AI, but let's press generative fill and see what he does for us. Luckily, we have a part cleaned very, very fast. Oh, that's it. Oh, almost there. Yeah, I like this. I like this very much. The sneaker will be in front of it, you know. So we can. Let's keep that. I know I need to complete this part. So let's put this together. Let's back with the name body, and I need to check because when I do that, it considers the background as well. So here you see, it has the gray area. So I need to clean this later. But first, let's just paint this part. Let's give it a base color. It's more greenish, something like that. The leg will be here, so it doesn't need to be like very, very detailed. But I need to clean up here. So let's trace it again. Let's see if it works. The lasso, let's refine here that I forgot. On the upper part, I need to clean this. And I need to clean here as well. Lock the alpha, pick the color. And here I have to use my imagination to keep going with the logo. I could use a reference from another picture from Miles, but we don't have much time, so I will just paint something here, right? I don't remember exactly by heart how it is, but it's important just to have some background. Something like that. Now the front end. I hope it's not too boring for you guys. I know this part's not the best one, but it's important. Front end. All right, almost there. Yeah, this comment from Matt is very important. Actually, when I watch other artists uh, doing this kind of process, that's exactly what I watch it. Uh, what's the focus? And with game dev, I learned that you have hero assets that are very important. They are on the focus. They had all the attention, and you have something that is not that important. But I think this is something that experience brings to the table. That's why it's nice to watch other people doing stuff that you need to do. You find more efficient ways to do stuff. So the hand, I think, is nice. The back arm, for the back arm, what can I do? Is it's kind of flat color. It doesn't have much variation. The problem when I find images that I want to play with that are more like paint, with texture on the painting. The biggest problem is to like create the same texture so it doesn't look like another picture. And you don't hurt the original, the style, because the artist, you pick that image because of the artist, I guess. Here we can do as well, use the stamp tool. This part will be behind it. It's not that important. But I like to spend more time on the edges, on where the other part starts, because there will be small movement that will show like a little bit inside of that part. So that's where I choose to spend more time, like this. So if I can have the same texture that I have on the rest of the picture, at least few pixels inside, I will try to do that. Because the part that are really behind all the other parts, they are not that important. All right. Eric, good to see you here. All right, front arm now. That part that I told you that I don't like. I don't like to animate. Perspective is very tricky. Okay, let's see how we can clean up this. Again, here the hand will not move far away from this part, so you just need to get rid of it. And another thing that is nice about Spine is because if you update an asset, it automatically updates on Spine. So even if this is not perfect, you can bring it to Spine, work with like that. It's important that it has like the same, a good silhouette, at least the silhouette you can like define to have like the final silhouette. And about the painting, the correct painting, you can bring it to spine, animate it, mesh it, and if it's not good, you can go back to Photoshop. But instead of going to the PSD, you open the PNG asset that it exported, and you paint on the PNG asset, and it's updated. So that's it for it. This is the front jacket now. So I need to figure out how the hoodie is, kind of. Okay. Front part of the jacket, because the back part I will do separated. Something like that. Same here. I'll have a back part of the head, and I'll have the laces separated. So just remove the finger here. Something like that. Let's use this stamp tool to have some texture. And this part is, let's check. All right, this part as well. Little bit. Yeah. I think it's enough. Now the back jacket. Back jacket. It's easy. I just need to expand what I have here in the back. Let's see the front part. Okay. It's good to keep a little bit of this lighter part here so we can make sure that they are aligned. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for the comment. Glad that you appreciate it. All right, back part's done. Back jacket. I need to clean up here. And here the back hoodie, back part of the hoodie. Also very easy, just a black mask. Because the front part is this. Maybe I can delete here. Now the head, the back hoodie, the head. Of course, they are not in order, the correct order. Still need to fix that. Okay. here. Okay, for the head is easy. Black ball. Okay, this is done. Laces. Laces done. Front tie. This one. Very quick because we have the shin in front of it all the time. All right. Okay. And this is it. Yay. Oops. Okay, what I'm doing? It's oh my god. Never do that, guys. You see here? Untitled 1. That means that I did all the character and it's not saved. Oh, Miles. Let's save it as Miles. Okay. Never do that, guys. Please. Okay, now before export, let's put this in order. So back leg is on the back, of course. The body should be in the middle of everything. Front arm and front hand should be in front. Front leg should be in front. Front thigh should be in front, but not in front of the body. So down the body. Front arm, front hand. Okay. Front jacket should be in front of the body, right? And behind of the arm. Back jacket should be behind the body. Front tie should be there. Maybe I need to fix the. Let's see how the front leg is. The front leg should be in front of the tie and in front of the body. No, I think it's fine. I was thinking about fix this angle, but it's in front of the front leg is here. So head should be, back arm should be like that, behind the body, behind the back jacket. The head should be behind the back hoodie. No, in front of back hoodie. Laces should be in front of the body. In front of the front jacket, actually. And I think this is it. Perfect. Not perfect, but perfect. Okay. Just like that, man. Final files. Never, that is this legend, urban legend. Never name it a file as final, because for certain it will come back to you. So now let's export it finally. If you don't know that, you can bring back the rules in Photoshop. And if you click this upper corner here and bring it back here somewhere, it will be the root in Spine. If you close this file and open again, the 00 will be here again. So every time you open the file and you need to export, you need to put this again in place. So I will put this here down because I like it, but it could be anywhere. If you don't put anywhere, it will be here on the upper left corner. All right, by standard. All right, so the script, Photoshop to spine. It will always let's put Miles. It will always save your images on the same folder that your PSD is. So keep this in mind. And if you move them, the JSON and the image folder later to another place, and you open the Spine project, you need to tell the Spine project where the folder is again. All right. So keep this in mind. So it's exporting. If there are any layers with the same name, it will give you an error. So you have to rename and re-export it again. Maybe you know that already, but doesn't hurt to say. Okay, so it's done. Photoshop. Finally. Can you guys give me 2 minutes, 3 minutes? And then we come back. I need to take more water. Is it okay? Then after that, we jump into Spine. Let's just import the data. Let's pick it. What we exported from Spine. Let's just import it here. For some reason, it's thinking a lot. Maybe it needs a break as well. There it is. Miles, IMG, Miles, okay. Open. I want a new project. Miles, skeletal name. Discard chains because we don't need the presentation anymore. There it is. You can see my bones here, but you can. It's because of the filter here. All right then. Final app, final part. Let's make Miles fly. By the way, we will rig it now and we will animate it. But to animate that, we'll take as a reference the After Effects file, because I have here the up and down movement. This up and down movement, I will not do it again on Spine because they will overlap each other, right? So for me, the important information here is that Miles, where is Miles layer, is to get the keyframes. P, position P. So I know when Miles reaches 19 frames, he's on the top of the arc. Thank you for the one that suggested arc. Who was it? Alexander. Thank you, Alexander. But if you see here, my layer starts. It doesn't matter. I can consider 0 anyway, because I can just cut the layer as well. So what we're gonna do here, I can do that later, so it's not so confusing. But it's important for you to know now, because we will animate on Spine, that around 19, 20, let's say 20 is easy to remember, or not. From 20 to 5 seconds. 5 seconds is 150 frames. That's where when Miles starts falling out. So from here, I have to consider that because of the physics, because he has like floating parts, the jackets, the shorts, the laces. By the way, the laces, I don't know if you saw it, but I'm using Spineimation jacket, not jacket, pullover, hoodie. I have to consider that the physics, because when it reaches the top of the arc, the parabol, that means that the velocity of Miles is getting closer to zero, and the velocity of the other parts, like the limbs, like the sneakers, the legs, and the jacket, and everything else, they have like different weights. So it comes into the place in different timings as well. So I need to have this reference of timing for 20 seconds or something like that. So I know that from 20, the frame 20 until the frame 150, I need to work on that movement, that kind of the movement settling in place and start getting in movement again. That's when it falls, you know. So we need that reference of time because we are not doing the up and down movement. We can do like a very small one, but the big movement is being done on After Effects now. So you have to consider the timing because the time needs to be the same on both softwares. Another thing that you need to check, actually, I created the composition with a different frame rate. So I will bring this to 30 because Spine is running on 30. So actually, if I go here again, now it's not 20. Sorry for this guy. I forgot to check it earlier. So it's not 20, it's around 24. So on 24, things are start settling in place and start preparing to fall. So until 5 seconds, that is now 150 frames, you can see here, and it falls down. All right. So keep this in mind. 24, 150. All right. It will make a difference when we replace the assets. Okay, let's jump back to Spine and start rigging. We will not create a complex rig because, for example, we will not use IK chains here because I use IK to keep things in place. Like if I am doing a walk or my character is standing over someplace or holding something, I need the hand in place. I need the feet in place, like locked on the ground. So then I use IK. I see people that create like crazy rigs with IKs everywhere. I don't recommend that because not because of performance, but because it's hard to control. IK can be very useful and it is a very nice feature, but it's very hard to control sometimes. So keep this in mind. Use the features not because the features are cool or because they are there, but because you need them, you know? So always keep this in mind. This is a rule for animation. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Build it over a simple base, then start adding detail and complexity over it. But if it's not correct on the simple parts, on the basic part, if it's not correct there, if the time is not set there, it will pile up problems, you know? And in the end, if the time is not right at the beginning, in the end, it will not be not be correct. And it will be a nightmare for you to fix because you are trying to fix problem over problem over problem, okay? So always keep that in mind. This is an advice for life, actually, not only for animation. Keep things simple and build over that, all right? This is for free, all right? This advice is for free. Okay, let's start building simple. For the spine part, the character spine, I will go with 2 bones and one bone for the head. We can create like that slightly 3D control. We'll do that. I like to create structure for when I'm working with characters. I like to create structure for shoulders, but this is not the case. The perspective here is very weird, maybe not weird. It's beautiful, but it's kind of different. So I don't have like a front character to create like a subtle perspective. So to create a structure as the human body has, it doesn't make sense here. So we are just trying to do a cool movement. So in this case, I will not be like 100% precise, especially here because we have this perspective for the arm. So I will create here to set up maybe one bone setup for this arm, and then we can create a hand here on the center. And for the fingers, maybe I can add some more realistic movement for the fingers. So I will create more. This is tricky because the rotation here is oriented to the screen. That means I can do that, and it rotates related to the screen, flat. But the finger is positioned on a perspective. So the rotation is not like here, it's like here. You see? So it's tricky. This rotation is tricky. So, but getting like the correct bone structure always help. So in this case, not so much, but maybe it will be better if I do like a 2 bone setup here, or even 1. I don't know. We can change that later, but let's try to do our best here. These two are together, not separated. And for this back arm, the elbow is around here, the wrist is around here, and I will do only 1 bone here because the fist, the position is this. There's no flexibility in the middle, just this rotation. Okay, from here I can create more bones now for the jacket, so it can have like a more flowing movement. Something like that maybe helps. And I will create a second chain here for the back part of the jacket, so you can have like 2 rotations and mix them, so it has like a very wavy effect, and it's beautiful as well. These parts, I like to do that, like to free the inherit of the rotation. That means that if I rotate this bone or any bone below that, these parts will not rotate together. If it's on, when I rotate this, it follows the rotation, you know? It inherits the rotation. But since this part is flowy, it has its own physics, let's say. So I like to keep them like independent. And it's the same. Usually I use this on arms too. And I use this in laces, tails, and what else? Hair. Everything that's hanging, I like to use this setup. Turn off the rotations. So they are hanging. I can start working on them like from a 0 state. Let's call it 0 state. It's not like from the rotation of the parent, you know. So now let's rig here the leg. Simple setup as well, because we don't have much details here. From the laces here, it would be nice to use the spine 4.2 because of the physics. It will react nice, even for this one maybe. But let's keep it like that. Let's keep on 4.1 for now. All right, I think it will do it. Let's create the other leg now. Go straight to the knee, maybe from here down to the shin and to the feet. All right, I will change this just to make it more easy to see. Let's change it to the color as well. I like to change colors of everything. And another thing that I like to do is to have my bones color coded depending on the part that they are. In this case, let's put, of course, and with a good color with contrast so I can see them. And I like to bring the opacity lower, so they are not like a noise in front of my character. I can see the silhouettes and the poses more clearly. So that's why I bring the opacity down. Even they are color different. Helps me to visualize the parts separated, the block of parts. So for the jacket and for the laces, and for these laces, I use another color, like yellow, maybe, or green. And for the arms, maybe for the hand, I can do different as well. You see, because when they overlap each other, if they are all the same color, it's hard to identify which part is which part. So let's put a shade of blue here. Bring it down a little bit. And for the arms, let's keep it purple, like the rest of the body. Okay, I will not deal with extra controls now, like the fake 3D or something like that, because I like to do that. Even in animation, I like to add these effects for the last part, because I explained you before. If you don't get the base animation, like the body animation with the physics and everything else done correctly, if you add a 3D effect over it, it will just make it worse. So it's problem over problem. So first, do the basics, animate your character nicely with nice timing, nice physics, and then you add the extra stuff over it. Even you can add like extra controls. But for now, let's do what the workflow is. I will not name the bones. I like to name the bones, but in this case, since we are already 3 hours and a half, congratulations for everybody that's still here. You are awesome. Since we are so many time here, I will skip this part. Okay, I will jump straight to the rig and animation so we can wrap this up. So first thing on the workflow, I like to turn on the slot selection here, the filter, and because you need to bind your parts to your slots, right? For the bones, the slot to the bones. And it's faster if you just click the slot and click P, the shortcut for parent, and you click the bone. If you are on this regular view with images, slots, bones all together, and if you click a part and you click P and you click a bone, it will ask you questions. So you spend the time reading this, trying to understand what's happening. So to speed up your process, you select only slots, like a filter. It is a filter. Then when you press P and you press the bone, that's it. It will not ask you anything. So let's do that for the parts that we need. Back part. I usually bind for the closest part. It's not a rule, but it's up to you. Then I take the main bone here and I drag to see if anything is missing, like the back part here. It needs to be binded to the bone. And the arm. The arm needs to be binded to the arm. It's not just a matter of organization, but after you start animating, some parts will be meshed, some parts doesn't need to be meshed, like the head part, for example. If I don't want to, I don't need to mesh the head and create weights for it, because it is already binded to the bone to the right rotation point. So it works like this part. Maybe I don't need to mesh it to deform. Maybe it will work like that. I just need to mesh the body and create the reactions for the parts here on the borders. Maybe it will work. Maybe this part will work. So when you are animating, you can check that. So maybe you don't need to spend hours and hours meshing every single asset you have. If you are on game dev, this is not recommended. You use only the mesh that you need to use. But for cinematics and for video, you can mesh anything. You can have anything you want. So, but sometimes you don't need it. So that's why it's important also, not only for organization, but it's important to link the slot to the bones, because if they are rotating correctly, maybe they don't need to mesh. Maybe it is like a part made of metal or something that's rigid, so it doesn't have deformation. In this case, we have cloth, we have like soft parts that deforms with the joints that we have, so it makes sense to mesh it. But always check on your rigs, on your characters. Maybe you don't need to mesh everything. It will save you some time, because meshing takes time. Like here, I will mesh the body, and I will show you something interesting. I will mesh the body and the jacket. And then I will show you, because you can start animating without finishing your meshing. Check the timing and check if you need the mesh on the other parts. And then you can go back and refine just what you need. But you can see like up front if your animation is working or not. Okay, let's start with the body. Trace. I like to use trace. I always say that. Some people like to take the pen and create dot by dot. I like to use because it gives me like a base to start. And then I just click modify or delete, and then I adjust my mesh according to my needs. But starting with this, especially for video, it's very useful, because you don't have like limits of resources. You just need to check if you have a part with like high deformation, you have to put more vertices there, because it will behave better. The deformation will works better on that part. Here, I like to mesh to use the mesh to keep my structures and structures on the drawings. Like when you have strong detail on the drawings, I like to keep it. Like on the belt here, we have this small details here. It's nice to keep them in place. So if you create these internal structures, that's why I don't like meshes like that with random vertices. Because do you remember when the start of the stream I told you about 3D stuff that I learned from 3D and I brought to Spine? It's because of these triangles. If you see, when you create like flows, depending on how you position your vertices, your triangles are organized or not. For a deformation, it works just like 3D. If you have like a crazy amount of triangles random positioned, that part will deform. The deformation on that part, it will be very hard to control. So if you create like structures that gives you a flow like this, you see, triangle, 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 triangle. This is called on 3D. This is called a ring of meshes, a loop of mesh, because the triangles or the quads inside of it, they are organized. So when you attach a bone and you need to deform it, it behaves better. So that's why I try to keep like vertex in parallel, like this, or like that, organize it. So it's like, it's not 100% guarantee, but it's halfway there. Okay, but here, for example, I don't need much deformation. I'm doing that just to explain to you the concept, but just trying to create like a good, like on the borders here, it's nice if I have more vertices so I can deform it better. Let's say it's okay like that. Let's bind it. Where is my weight window? Let's bind it. The center, the tie, the other tie, the spine, and I think this is it. Now I need to control my weights. This one is the hip. It will have more influence for sure on this part, the central part. I can check the influence here, the size of the brush, the strength of the influence. So this leg, for example, I don't need it to influence the other leg, and vice versa. I don't need this one to influence this one. Just a little bit maybe here, not here, but then I can come direct here. Okay, because it's the middle, but not here. So I can remove like all the influence here, and I can do the same for this bone and remove it from here and balance it better here in the middle, because this part belongs to both. And just a little bit here of both. So check it. It's good. Maybe more here. And I see I have some influence here from the pink one. It's not good. More. Definitely more. Better. All right. This part now, the spine. Let's see. About the rotations, also I like to use that on the head. Okay, the body is deforming okay. So let's rig the jacket now. Let's save it, of course. Miles. Trace. Let's create some more here around the head. And here, because this part will deform a lot. Okay, a couple more here in the middle. Because this part will be flowing with the wind, so it needs more vertices. Let's create internal structure here where the shoulder meets the hoodie, the top of the hoodie. Let's create one here close to the, because it's like a 2-layer jacket. So around here, it's nice to have more control over this, the deformation of this part. And here we have the arm, so maybe we can create an internal structure here where the arm would be. Something like that. Oh my god, I forgot that, the properties. Sorry, no, I can remove my camera completely. Like that. Sorry for that, guys. Thank you, Omkar. Omkar is your name? That's why I say it. Thank you for letting me know. I completely forgot it. Marcelo is asking, is this has a specific name? Yes, it has. It's called skeletal animation because it's based on skeletons. All right. Okay, I think the important part that I show here, it was about then the camera was in front of it. It was about the rotations of the bones. This check that I did, if it's checked, it follows the rotation of the parent. Like this one follows the rotation of this one. But if I turn it off, if I rotate the parent, it stays in place, you know? And I just did that, and I changed the colors here on the same area, so it's not too much. You didn't lose too much. Okay, and edit mesh. If you want to edit your mesh, the button is here as well. So let's bind this. This will be binded by the body first, and then by these controls. Maybe not this one, because this one is more for the back part. Maybe also not this one. Maybe this. And it's fine. And for the head as well, because I want the head to influence this part. Like that. Let's test it before. It's kind of nice, but needs to fix here. The body is okay. Let's see the rotations here. I need less influence over here. And here is also fine. This part is for the back part, and this part is for the front part. Can have more influence here. Okay, let's try to paint it with a lower strength value, so it has a little more influence around here. And I need more influence for the head here. Let's test it now. Something like that. Okay. Okay, less here, more for the body here. Okay. Here. Okay. Yeah, no influence yet. Let's read this one now. Is more density, maybe. Okay. This part will be back everything, so not need too much detail. Bind it here. This one, let me do it again. This one can use this bone as well. and maybe a little bit of this ones, but let's add them later. First, let's see how it's behaving. Okay. See, because it will be disconnected. Here, there's a tricky part that you need to check the influences. So at this region, I have, and I need to do that manually. I have for this one like 86, 68. I can try to unify the influence here. So for this one 21, let's say a 5 for all of them. And down here we can make it, let's see, 36. Let's say for 35. All right, so we can use the same influence here. Let's bind this. I didn't bind it together because they need to be set like very separated. Like I need to check as I did the weights here and transfer them to here. So 85, right? I guess. So when they move, they will move like together. You see? So maybe it needs a little bit more adjustment or more influence here from this one. And of course, I need this as well a little bit. Maybe not too much, but maybe on this part for sure. Going up is nice, but going down, not so much. So for this body here, let's add more influence here. So it's more floaty. And for this part, let's add more, way more, like this. And this maybe is not necessary. Let's check. We still need work. When I have situations like that, what I like to do is go into the animation mode, and I create a deformation here that brings me the problem that I have, like this. Because on the animation mode, one of the few properties that I can change and not create keyframes is the weights. So here I know I can like do that in real time. So I can create like a better adjustment. And I know the deformations are working better. So maybe for this part, I need less influence actually to try to match this part. So what I do is select the bones and try to bring it back a little bit. You see? Works better. It won't be perfect in this case, but this is a way to solve this kind of stuff. When you have like weird deformation, you don't need to guess. You can animate it, and then you go to the weights and set it up. What you can't do that. But the worst part is that Spine allows you to do that. Like if you are on animation mode and you add more bones here on your binding, and then you set the weights. When you go back to setup mode, everything will be crazy. So anytime you need to add, let's say I want to add this bone now to the deformation. I need to go back to the setup mode, add the bone, go back to animation mode, and set the weights. Because if you do that the opposite way, it will be a nightmare. I hope you never had this experience, and now I'm telling you how to not have, because it's not good. And I learned this by mistake, by doing mistakes. So this is where experience counts a lot. Okay, now I have it deforming on a decent way. Okay, let's not spend much time here. Back to setup mode, mesh. This part is simple. Doesn't need the detail, just on this part. I like to create around the joints here more detail, but that's it. Because this part will have more deformation, and this part. The other parts are okay. I don't even need this amount of vertex here, because this part is almost rigid. But here I need. Some to deform, some to control, but always around the joint, so everything is in place. I think this is fine. Maybe more here, because this part will stretch, this part will compress, but we will not have like a wide movement. So we don't need much detail. Okay, bind it. For what we need, this is enough. We just fix this here. I don't need influence on this part. And from here, I don't need influence on this part. And here, okay, and this is it. This is enough. Here we have set up a rating, maybe the back of the head. I need this in place down here. So just a simple mesh, clean up a little bit, and bind it here, and bind it here. And set the influence for this guy. Let's say 100%. Better. Now let's fix this leg. This leg, I just need to fix this part on the knee. Maybe on the heel. Oh no, I have the laces here. But it will be a quick one. Around the joint. Around the heel. More dense here around the laces, so it can be flowing. All right, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. And the laces. All right, I know I can't have laces influence here. the hill, maybe a little bit here. Oops. Very, maybe not on the extremes because they are hard because of the bone, but here. Okay, not so good here, but we don't need much detail here, just the basics. Better with a curve. The knee, most important part. We don't need it here. The ping pong. We need it here maybe more a little bit. Neither here. Okay. Oh, the laces. Yeah, good. No, I have a little bit of influence here. Select all, select the green one. Oh shit. Sorry for the shit. Okay. Now, yes. Perfect. Now for the front leg. Trace. Same here, I don't need much detail, but I have this big soil that demands me to separate it from the rest of the sneaker. So maybe I can have like a shift in perspective, very subtle one, but it would be beautiful. I don't think we'll have time to explore deeper the 3D controllers because 4 hours now. Again, congratulations to staying here for so long. That shows you are interested. That's good. I like people that likes to learn. It's always interesting dialogues. Okay, let's say this is enough. Let's just create one structure here. Delete this. Okay. Let's bind it. Let's pray and hope for the best. Okay, maybe a little detail here, but it's working pretty much fine. Here I need like 100% pink. Yep. Let me try something. I know we don't have much time, but let me try this. Because this perspective is so interesting. So maybe I can create like another bone here and bind it to this part to create like the perspective shift. Let's say I put like a small influence here, like 20. And if I animate the shear, I think it has potential. What do you think? Combining the axis for the shear, maybe we can have like very nice results. And the rotation of the bone, of course, the main rotation. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for coming. Thanks for staying for so long. Go. I need to go soon as well. I have a dinner tonight, and but of course I will do everything that I propose to do here. Don't worry, guys. Let's animate this guy. No problem. It's almost there. We just need now. To rig the hand and this arm. That's all that's left. So let's do it. Just create this basic structure to hold the mesh, this weird perspective that I don't love. Let's see how it behaves. This is enough. Let's bind it to this bone and the hand. We have a dirt here. That's important to check on your PSD if you have this kind of debris. All right, let's do a good mesh here. We will not have like range of motion here as well. The fingers, as I explained, the rotations are very tricky, so I will not mess too much with them. Just create structures to hold everything from weird deformation. And for this part, that is kind of together. In this part, we can separate in two parts. This and this. Maybe three because we have an extra bone here for the thumb, and that's it. Bind. Let's just clean up the weight a little bit. For the center of the hand, it's important to have the center bone. The biggest influence from the center bone. If it's too much, we can fix later, but it's important for this bone to hold things in place. So down here, around here. Not here because this finger is projecting to the front, but let's see. Nope. Maybe just a little bit from this one here and here. All right, that's it. Now let's animate the guy. Let's close this. if I remember, let's do something first. I like to change my layout always. It depends on the. It's always depends on the character that I am animating. If the character is more vertical, I like to keep like that. Oh, Mart commenting still here. If it's more horizontal, I like to keep the other layout so I can have a better vision of my character. But let's jump into the animation here. Since I have everything rigged, I like to turn off the image filter here, so I don't click on the images by accident. I just click where I want to click. And if I remember, it was like around 2019, 24, right? After we changed the frame rate. So we had a position here, then around 24, we have Miles coming to the screen, right? And then it stays there until 150, going up. We can also add some rotation here. Let's make it go up a little bit, or maybe go down here. Another thing that I like to do here is to separate my transforms, because as I told you, the magic of the animation is on the graph. Right now, all the curves are linear, but I like to change right from the beginning to Bezier so I can control it better. But I like to separate the axis on the graph so I have more control over my curves. So in this case, I don't have the coming in too strong, but it's okay. It's important from 24 to here. But by the graph, I can control how much my character is going up or down here. You know, because it's the values. The graphic is controlling the values. So I can control how much he's going up, in this case, from 24 to 50, this interval, by changing this or this. And how much easy I have from one to another. The graph from 3.8 and lower is actually, this graph here is much more powerful, but the graph from 3.8, actually, in this case, I have 3 keyframes here, right? When you click a keyframe, you have like this section only showed on 3.8. And then you need to click the next one to have this section. So actually, you are controlling the same stuff, but section by section. In this case, you have control over the values overall, the curve. So it's much more powerful. It's how any other software works. So that's why I am not using 3.8, but I will give you the support that you need if you are using only 3.8 or lower, right? So timing wise, these are the important parts. Then I have like until 5 from 20 more falling down. So 20 more is 170. Then I can try to copy my first keyframe and bring it back. When you copy, it copy with the Bezier orientation, so you need to fix it. Oops, weird stuff happening. Okay. So from here, start falling. And that's it. It's weird to check like that, but on After Effects, it will be more clear. So let's bring back my rotation here. So it's almost linear at the beginning. Maybe the position should be almost 0 here. Because when we take it back to After Effects, it will get weird if we have like too much position change here, because we have already position change there. So maybe something like that. Yeah, it's just a reference. So, okay. We can make it start a little more curved. And when it reaches 24, it's like going straight, and to 150 it goes more straight because it's preparing to fall, you know. Again, it's weird because it's linear, so we can change it. And then here, when it starts falling, even the hips, maybe we can make it more straight. And then we can reverse the curve on the spine, because it's a drastic change of movement. And it could be linear on the start and the end. But here in the middle, I need it to be like smooth. Linear here, smooth in the middle. Yep. Same for the head, 24. Let's key rotation and position here. It's adjusting because this is on, where auto is on, but it's annoying, but it's more annoying if it's not adjusting. So don't worry about it. So let's make like this, and let's bring it down a little bit. Or the opposite. For me, kind of weird this way, but on the transition, maybe it will work better. And 150. A little bit of position and falling down. When it's falling, the head can drag a little bit. And then set the eases more linear at the beginning because it's coming from out of screen. That means that it was already in motion before. So I don't need it to accelerate to the place. It is okay. In this case, I don't need to separate it because simple movement. Now let's cover the arms. 24. Let's set our keyframes on 24 rotation. Then on 0, let's bring it down a little bit. What I can do is turn off the rotation for this one. Yeah, it will be a better effect. So 24, I have rotation for everybody. Let's see if we can bring it even more down. One detail for this one. Maybe it's interesting if I hold this part under this bone as well. So not only the arm, but it will stay in place. So let's take this, give this almost 100% maybe. A little softer here, a little softer here to create like a transition of weights. Let's see. Yeah, maybe more. Let's see. Yeah, leave it in place is better, but we need to adjust this here. This and this and this. All right. Guys, I know it is 4 hours and almost 20. I know I spent 1 hour presenting you all the features of Spinimation and everything else. But if you take this off, we have like a class of 3 hours, let's say. And this is the kind of content, the new content, the monthly content. So besides the classes that we will have, you have this amount of extra content. This is only for SpineGen. So every month you have like 3 or 4 hours of extra content for SpineGen. Then you have the extra hours for the other different content. I hope you like it because it's my weekend. But it's nice. I love to do that. And of course, if things goes well, and I hope it does, it doesn't need to be on the weekend. Right now it's on the weekend because it's the time I have available. But it's weekend, right? So I think everyone wants to do something instead of sitting in front of a computer. So this is another thing that community will count a lot, because by community can like pick what time is better for everybody. So it's a nice thing to do. I don't know if everybody uses Discord, but I use it for work, but I need to use it more for different stuff. And of course, I am old. I told this to everybody. I am old. I'm not a Discord guy, but I know I need to keep the pace with the technology. And I count with everybody to help me there. Of course, there are more people, more experienced in Discord used than I. So maybe from the community we'll have like the administrators that can help me to run the challenges or something like that, and help me create interesting content and the voting, this kind of stuff, and give new ideas. I don't know. Question. Unity. Marcelo is asking if I need to learn Unity or any other software a little bit for your job. Unity, usually I learn what I need to learn at the moment. And other software, I think it's the same. I think it's the same for this kind of career. If you need something, you go and you learn, you research about it, and that's it. You don't need like to be an expert, because you are in the end, you are an animator. You are not like a dev. But since you are on an environment that demands that you deliver stuff for Unity, for example, then it's important that you have an idea what you are doing. Or if the devs, usually devs are more than one. Usually they need you to deliver something in a specific way, so they will tell you about it, and they will teach you how to do that. So you don't need to be an expert, but you have to be open to learn this kind of stuff. And not only for softwares, production softwares. When you enter a studio, they have like different tools that they use, like for example, Jira to control the projects, or order management tool. So you need to use that in order to be on the environment of the company. So it's normal. On this kind of career, it's kind of normal. What I'm doing here now, I am talking, but I'm not talking about the animation, but what I'm doing here now, I am preparing the legs to enter the frame. So it's coming on a speed to the top of the parabol. So it needs to be like more straight and absorb the movement, the energy when it reaches the top of the arc, the parabol. So the legs needs to be more straight, and when it gets to 24, it starts to absorbing the energy. So from 24 to 150, it's absorbing the energy of the movement. Not only the legs, but the arms. I animate the arms, and I didn't mention the dragging that I was creating when I was bringing it up. So here I have the upper arm doing the single movement, but the lower arm, it has more drag on it. So it doesn't get there at the same time and with the same weight on the 24. It's getting there on the 25. And this is getting there on the 27, because it's even lighter. So you create like a whip effect, a wave effect over the arm, And this should happen to all the parts that are hanging. In the case of the front arm, we don't have like joints, but you can try to create the same effect by creating a position for the hand. You can bring it down a little bit, and then it will have a different movement. And of course, it can get there later than the arm. And it keeps going into the 150. Position and rotation. The curves, I think, is fine. Maybe we can get this whole thing delayed a little bit, so it gets there on a different timing from the back arm. And here I have both legs getting there at the same time. Let's make them smooth. But they don't need to. They can be there like in different timing as well. Like this one can get there like 27. And same for the lower legs. It's getting there on 24, but it should be there like way later, because they are heavier. Not heavier, but they are kind of on the extreme of the limbs. So linear here, linear here. And last but not least, the shoes. It should be there after the lower leg. So let's say 32. Even this guy. You see, so they are not all getting there at the same time. Let's put on 150 and keep bringing them up. And they need to be also Bezier. Maybe this one. It doesn't need to rotate that much. Like here, it can be more around here. And last, when it starts falling, let's bring this up a lot. Now it's going down heavily. Even the arms, maybe we can bring back the arms a little bit. And then when it goes to the final movement, it really goes up. And same for the front arm. We can hold it a little bit down, then we can go all the way up. Fix the curves a little bit here. And this, we don't need this to be a Bezier. Neither this, because it's going off screen. Oops, not position. Here I am trying to force a drag on the upper part of the body. I need to do the same with the head. Because the movement is too strong, you know? So let's isolate rotation. The curves are all crazy. Yep, all right. Let's just not forget about the laces. Here we are at, okay, 24 maybe. Nice detail to have. But when it falls, it goes all the way. Okay, smooth. Oops, linear here. Okay. Maybe the tip can have a different rotation here, more drag. we didn't did this part. I will not mesh it, okay, because because 4 hours and a half. Kunal is asking now. Let me save this first. Do you create offsets, delays, follow through in the beginning of the animation, means while posing, or you keep it for the later stage of the animation while refining? I use both methods, but usually if I am doing pose to pose, I don't key this kind of effect at the beginning, because these kind of effects, they depends on the physics, what's happening with the character. So it's important to set the base animation to see how the character is moving, reacting, or something, and then you add these details, because these details will be different depending on what the character is doing. So if it's something more simple, I know what's happening, like I am doing here, I know already kind of what's happening with this movement, and it's kind of slow motion, then it's easier to control because it's predictable. So I kind of know what I want to do, what's happening, and it's not complex. The character is not doing something complex. It's getting to the screen, slow motion, and getting off the screen. So I can preview how this kind of effects will behave. So in this case, I am doing that. I am like posing and doing at the same time. But it depends. It depends on the project. I will not mesh this, okay? Just because of timing, but you know the drill. It's kind of the same of the lace down here. Just pose it briefly until 150, and down here it's all the way up. The next Spine Gen will be more more chill, because I took too much time presenting the project, but it was necessary. I hope you will understand that. Okay, last part, the jacket, the one that this one now will have more overlaps and follow throughs and everything. So let's start doing that. Let's ski it around 28, maybe a little bit down, until 150. Let's bring it up, and then let's make it all the way really up. So here's the case. I have the base movement. I know like the main poses, but I know they don't have overlap and follow through in anything else. But I need to widen it. So I have the main movement for all the parts together. Now I will isolate some parts, and I will start crafting this movement. First, I will come to 24. That is the reference timing, just to have it correctly. And then for the second layers of bones, I will bring it close. But here I have already a small movement happening. I can bring it here earlier, actually, because the parent, when you are animating follow through and this kind of effects, and it is on a chain of bones, it always depends on what the parent is doing. So you are always resisting to what the parent is doing. So you create drag from that, you know. So for the first part, I have these parents, and I know they are going slightly up. By the graph, I can tell you that. And so the next bones in chain, they need to resist to that movement a little bit. So here, I need to bring them a little bit down. And I will do the same for the next one here. Here is tricky because I have one more and two more here. I will do one at a time, right? So I have this coming here, maybe 25. I can make it resist a little bit more. Let's fix the bezier here. And then all the way up, I need to create like the same resistance around the middle here. Because this actually, this going up needs to happen very close to the 150. So maybe I create resistance, but not that much. I just need to fix the curves here. And then I let the big turnaround to the end. What can I do here is create like a wave in the middle. Since this interval is too long, like 5 seconds, I can like create a wave. So it will be like a small wave, then it will go like all the way. So I can craft this, the shape of this wave here. Then I bring it back. I want to use this, the same one. But for this to work, I need to bring this back as well. These down. Maybe here, bring it up and then bring it down again, and then go all the way. Let's see how to fix this, since this is more complex. This is where the curves really help. You can visualize the waves you are creating. Like here, I know this needs to be on a different timing to create the wave effect. You see? You can start seeing it. See? Now it's more visible. And then I go back here to the beginning and I do like the opposite. So I have the complete wave happening. Now it's a matter of polishing everything. No, it was good the way it was. Let's focus on this one now to create like the same. So they can like complement each other. Try always to keep this part in sync. It will not happen always, but you need to fix that manually, like here. Because right now these two bones, they are doing a lot of different stuff. Of course, we are working with this one, so don't worry if it's not very perfect, because we are still animating the tip here. All right, final lap. If we had more time, I would add the 3D effect that I wanted to add. I can try to fake it manually. I like to create like an illusion of rotation here. Bring this a little bit here. I'm not sure if it will work how it should work. Position 150. You can filter here the transforms that you want, like only position. We certainly need some mesh adjustment here. It was working nice, but it can work better. So by doing that, maybe the 3D parallax works better. I can do it manually, of course. In this case, that we are not animating for games, we can do that animating the meshes. I can create like a illusion of rotation on these vertices. Just key the mesh, and here you bring this down here. The disadvantage of this method is because we are animating from here to here, right? But if you need something in the middle, it will mix all the interpolations of all vertex, so you can't add like much detail. That's why if you use bones, you can like control the bones, and with the bones and the curves, you can do whatever you want. You are not restricted to this interval, you know. It's stopping. What? It's stopped here. It is okay. Someone else has the same problem? I will keep. Oh no, it's back. Okay, so reload the page, guys. I am almost finishing it. Actually, I will not animate anymore. I will export this. The mouse is moving. Oh, okay. All right, so let me get back here. All right, so I don't know why, because here on my end, everything is fine. But I think we got there. I don't know if you lost it. I animated the mesh a little bit. So we have like a very subtle 3D effect. I fake it. I did it on because I don't want to spend time like rigging, because we are ahead. We are almost 5 hours now. So I will export this and put it on the After Effects. Then we can wrap this up. And I hope next one it will be better, guys. At least more faster. But we did a lot of things today as well. So the idea is this, actually is not putting limits, but for the jams, like if you participate on a game jam, this is it. You start and you finish when you finish. So people spend hours and hours on it. So I created this spine jam to be something like that. Like I don't want to restrain. You have like 2 hours of extra material, but I am trying to commit by the project, not by the time. So I think it's better for everybody. But I think it's too long for today, like 5 hours. It's a lot. I will export this. So if you don't know how to export it, Spine knows, but it's taking a while. I don't know. I think he's searching for a folder on the external hard drive, like for the past project. And it takes a while to think about, the E hard drive. But we are exporting that on another one, on the local hard drive. So let's create a folder. Oh, shit. Sorry for the shit again. Let's create a folder render. And I will render there. PNG sequence, current animation. The scale is 100 as well. Transparent, and that's it. Now just wait for it. I think some people left after the stream was over. Was frozen. I don't know if this is what happened, but or because it's almost 5 hours. It's possible, but it's almost there now. In After Effects, it doesn't take too long. It's just a matter of exporting, and it's taking more time to export because the asset is really big. So if you want to ask something while it's exporting, feel free. Feel free to ask while we are waiting. It doesn't need to be like about animation or something. Whatever you want to ask, feel free to ask. All right? And then we will jump back to After Effects and wrap this up. Actually, while it's exporting, thank you, Jabez. I don't know if this is the correct pronunciation for your name. Sorry if I miss it. But while it's exporting, I can show you another part here, actually. So what we will do here is we'll take this layer that is already animated. That's one of the reasons that I start by After Effects, because when we do that, we have the timing working for us. About Marcelo. Okay, 2 questions. The first one, except for this class, your courses will include a rigging process. Of course, absolutely, from scratch. Spine gems will be from scratch, but the courses itself, the learning tracks, everything that we are doing that is from scratch. So importing on Spine, rigging it, and animating. The thing is, I will not create like complex rigs because the idea is to learn animation, but I will rig it for sure. Rig it and mesh it, and you will have access to the rigged file, so you can practice. You will have access also to the PSD file and the image folder exported and the Spine file. So if you want to practice the rigging part, you can use these assets. If you want to practice just the animation part, you have the rig done for you as well. So everything, you have access to everything. The Marcelo question is, if I see more junior positions nowadays that Spine had a boom. Actually, Spine is growing now in Brazil more. Over here, it's not a boom. We are seeing more now, but I don't know if I can call it a boom. But in Brazil, definitely, it's starting. The community is small yet, but it's natural. It's natural for when something is growing, like it's growing in Brazil. It's natural that it has like more junior position because you don't have the culture of Spine yet in Brazil. Here outside it's like normal. You can find junior positions in most studios. And if you search LinkedIn, you find a lot of junior Spine animators. So this is it. But here, at least in Europe, it's very consolidated industry. It's more used on indie games industry, in the games field. But there are a lot of studios using it for cinematics and other kind of productions as well. And of course, freelancing. There's a lot of freelancing. One of the things that I want to do with Spinimation in the future is to get in touch with companies, studios that uses Spine on their pipelines and offer like a talent pool. Because I believe on our community, on Discord, for example, and on the students, we will have juniors, we will have intermediates, we will have a lot of people, and these people do freelance. And sometimes I receive messages, where can I find work? So if I can gather these people together and I can gather companies, contacts in companies, studios, I can put them in contact and maybe create a channel for opportunities beyond LinkedIn, beyond Instagram. So that's one of the ideas of expanding Spinimation. So judging, yeah, it's finished. So let's save it, of course. Saved. So the important thing here, I was telling you about the After Effects workflow to be done like that is because I can come now to the Miles layer that is already animated the way I wanted, and I can transform it on a pre-comp. You can come in composition, and to be honest, I don't know where the menu is, but I can say to you that it's Control Shift C. You can turn the layer in. It's pre-compose. I forgot the name because for me it's so usual. Just use shortcuts that sometimes I forgot where it is on the menus. So let's see my old comp. Okay. I leave all attributes on this layer. That means that all animation that I did, all the transforms things, if I had like filters and effects applied to this, they will keep on the layer. So this is what I want, because if I check this one, I will lost all my animation. It will be like inside the composition. I want it to be outside on this composition. So it will just, you will notice that nothing changed, unless, not unless, but except the icon here. It changes because it's now a composition. It's not a layer, all right? So being a composition, I can enter here and I have access to this. So the first thing that I do, I change the size. This one is, I can grow it like 250 for all the sides. That means that I'll have room when I import the animation. I will have room to animation for the animation to play, because so far it was constrained to the edges of the layer, you know. So I don't need to replace this. Actually, I can keep this, and I can import the renders that I did, and then I take this here and I align with my layer, like in the middle, let's say, somewhere here, that they are like the same position. Here, I align this. So when I jump back to After Effects, that's fine here. When I jump back, I turn off this layer, the visibility. I jump back to the central composition. Then I have my animation playing together. You can see by the jacket here. And let's see when it's go down. Yeah, you have the starting of the assets. So by doing that, I can say, oh, maybe I can improve the movement here when it's falling down. I can make it even more bigger. Or when he's coming into the frame, I can make it happen earlier. So I can move this here, and then I can see it happening more, not here. I need to respect this timing. So let's start here. then I can see the feet and the legs coming in more than it was before. And better, I can use like motion blur here, because the layer is in movement. So everything that is inside this composition, it will take like motion blur as well. So I can apply also for the other ones, motion blur, even for the background. Of course, the render will be heavier, but it's much more beautiful. And you can add all sorts of interesting stuff here. If you want to add a lens flare, for example, or some solid, let's make a very big solid here. Just to have a layer of light, kind of leaking light. And you can link this to the background. You need to turn into a 3D layer, of course, bring it to the front of the composition. And you have to mask it, of course. I don't know how much in front it is. Let's see on the left side. Yeah, it's too much maybe. No, not too much, because Miles is here. But let's say front. Let's say this big, and I want to mask it and bring it on the frame like here. Then we can check on the camera actually, and bring the feather up. This kind of playing, you can do that, like color correction and everything you want. Let's see how it plays now. Something like that. You can bring the additive mode, not too much. Bring the opacity down. So you have interesting stuff to do. Let's turn off the nose so they are not in front. And this is it, guys. This is our project. I would like to have time to do all the characters. It would be very nice, but not the case today. Maybe sometimes I can go back here and bring all the characters to life. It would be nice. But for today, this is it. Thank you, all the 17 people that stayed here so long. It was an honor. I feel like honored, humbled by your presence here, because you spend your Saturday with me for so long. And I hope you have liked the let me show my face. I hope you had liked everything that we cover here, Spine, Photoshop, and After Effects. There are some cool tips along the video. If you are watching this after, because you received the link to watch it if you want it, there are tips everywhere. The ones that stayed here so far, they know it. But I hope you can use this on your daily job, all right, or on your daily practices. Okay, if you have some questions, later questions, you have the email. You can, here is again the email. You can send me an email there, or you can follow me and send me messages on my social networks. I think you know, right? Most of you Don't. I am like this, Juliano Castro, everywhere. And that shows I am really old because I had the opportunity to take the handles first, then all other Julianos. Today there are a lot of Julianos around the internet. Juliano Castro, just like me. But I got the chance to take the first, take it first because I took it like a while ago. But this is it. This is not animation. This is just a random talk. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for coming. And this is it. All right. Thank you very much. And I see you soon. Bye bye.